Okay, it looks like we are live. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Dogon SS JV wins once again, right back at you with another edition of the Conscious Approach channel on YouTube. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Major shouts out to everybody who has been hitting that subscribe button, liking, hitting that like button, leaving those comments, letting us know what you think about the commentary in all of our content. You guys are the real MVPs as we continue to grow this community. So thank you very much. And as we like to do at the top of each of our videos, I am going to go ahead and say that if this is your first time catching wind of what we like to do here on the channel, you see this is what we are all about. We do this each and every week, each and every day with every upload. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you have not already done so. Hit that like button, leave those comments, let us know what you think. We do engage as we continue to rock and roll. So major shouts out to all of the members of the Conscious Approach tribe that we have been able to put together. And major shouts out in advance to everybody who joins the train along the way. We certainly appreciate your support. With that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get things kicked off. First thing that we are going to talk about is rapper YG, who is now a peace man. I thought that this was pretty interesting content because everybody know, well, at least through his music. I don't know the guy personally, so with these rappers and all of this, you're only as you have to take what they put on the records, because I don't know who this guy is personally. But based upon what he does in his music, he's gang affiliated and all of that good stuff. And a fair amount of his content musically centers around street life, particularly out on the West Coast in LA from Compton, which is where he's from. Be that as it may, he recently did something that I thought was interesting in terms of brokering a relationship towards peace. He held a peace walk out in Compton in an attempt to get rival gang members, or in an attempt to get rival gangs to become a little more peaceful, in an effort towards peace. So I thought that this was interesting content. We figured we spent some time giving our thoughts about it on the channel. So here we go. First up, we are going to provide a little context here. So this says YG leads peace walk in bid to end war between rival Compton gangs. YG is doing his part to put to bed years of bad blood in his hometown of Compton. On Sunday, which was August the 18th, the community service rapper led a peace walk through the streets of Southern California in a bid to promote peace and unity between two of its rival gangs. YG was joined by members of the Treetop Pyrus and Fruittown Pyrus, as well as fellow Compton rapper The Game, as he hit the pavement in hopes of ending the years-long feud between the Warring Bloods factions. We came together, my hood and the Fruittown Pyrus across the street. We've been at war for like the past 10 years. We just enemies. So I felt like we all needed to come together and walk down our main street, he told a reporter. He added, we all from Pyrus, so we don't really need to be beefing with each other. We've been doing that SHIT for years, so it's time to, if we can clean it up, if we can clean it up. There's been a lot of conversations about that SHIT, so I put some energy towards it and we got it right. YG also celebrated the lack of negative-ish and police intervention, saying it's successful, all love and positive, we outside. The group even broke bread literally while marching in the sunny California sun, swinging by Tam's Burgers, the Compton spot made internationally famous thanks to Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us video for a bite to eat. This isn't the first time that YG has shown his socially conscious side. The 400 honcho famously released the Donald Trump protest anthem FDT, which stands for F Donald Trump, in 2016 and dropped the similarly titled NWA-inspired FTP, short for F the Police, 4 years later following the death of George Floyd. Meanwhile, he isn't the only rapper who has attempted to bring peace to the birthplace of the Bloods and the Crips this year. In June, Kendrick Lamar ended his historic pop-out concert in Inglewood in powerful fashion by sharing the stage with members of various rival gangs. So that's pretty much the gist of it. let's see if we can play this little clip here real quick just for some video love to this story.
Yeah.
We'll walk down the brand. Roll brand. Nigga. I know what we do, nigga. On the set, y'all already know what it is, man. Bro, we get straight nigga all the way down, nigga.
All right, so what are your thoughts on YG's Peace Walk? Now, keep in mind, this is an inter-gang peace brokerage. Well, intra, in terms of it being amongst the blood specifically. So this has nothing to do with the other side of the equation. It's not an inter-gang peace brokerage. It's an intra-gang peace brokerage. But be that as it may, what do you think about YG making this move out there to sort of work towards at least a more increased form of peace out in his neck of the woods?
Damn. Intra? Man.
Yeah, intra. Yeah.
Damn it, man. I guess it's a step in the right direction. I guess I can start there. But if you're still banging, I can't really go for this like that. So of course we would like more peace amongst our people and in the community. So it is a step in the right direction, but it's kind of a lateral move, not even in a positive direction. Because if they decide to mend this and, they're not harming each other, they're just going to become more powerful at doing what they do best. So I really can't see this as so much of a positive situation, as even though in its spirit, it is a positive thing because, you're trying to bestow some peace. So this is a little odd here. And here's my thing for gang members, because, a gang member may, come across this somehow, some way, and they might give me the Tyler Perry treatment, calling me an uppity Negro, or whatever. Yeah. And but that's far from the truth. All right. And so my thing is for gang members is the trap that this thing is in its entirety. And I'm pretty sure these guys, while they're doing their day-to-day, some of them at least, they are aware of the trappings of their situation. There's some dudes that bang for real and they love it every second of it, and they want to recruit and all that stuff. But then there's some people in there that really got jumped in because it was a neighborhood thing. And it was a Nipsey Hussle. He said in one of the songs he was in, he was like, being honest, killing mamas when we sold work. I made a promise, give me options and I'll cold turk. Basically saying that, hey, I'm doing this, but I don't want to. And given the opportunity, I want to get out of doing this. YG, somebody that is well-connected in the industry, well-connected in social circles, could get some things done probably. I would like him to use his powers so these guys can cold turkey, not so that they can bang fruits and other things. So I'm kind of for it, but I'm kind of not. This is an odd thing, but more on the not. But what are your thoughts here, sir, on Sir YG making a intra-gang peace? You down for this?
Yeah, I'm conflicted, much like you. I'm conflicted. Less violence is the better way. Mm-hmm. Anybody who disagrees with that, I guess we just can't really have a conversation. I'm not trying to get into the weeds with circumstances. I'm just saying overall, less violence is better than more. So I'm conflicted because this had nothing to do with like inter-gang piece. It's more of an intra-gang piece, as in these bloods fighting these bloods, and so we need to get peace amongst the bloods. But in relation to other situations, it is what it is. That's at least kind of what I'm taking from this situation. Yeah. So overall, it's like, I hear it, but I'm also conflicted. And this is where I like to go with some of this stuff because we're at a point we've reached a point of a crossroads, specifically with these rappers, where they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, in terms of being socially conscious, but they're still wanting to make the same kind of music that they've been making. We've talked about guys like this before. Probably the poster child of this is Meek Mill, who will get on his socially conscious high horse every now and again. He did it recently. He had some things to say about how he feels about Kamala Harris, but then he'll still make his songs talking about what he's doing out in Philly, and how he still got his, his what's the word? His young bulls who won't hesitate to put a red dot on your forehead. So it's like, I'm not understanding who I'm talking to. Am I talking to somebody who sees the bigger picture, or am I talking to street rapper guy? And YG has always been a street rapper guy. To my knowledge, this is the first time that I've seen him do something like this. So my thing is, if you want to turn over this leaf, you've got to walk by sight and by faith. And you have got to reciprocate some of that energy with respect to your own creative outlets. I don't see any other way around it. And I get very disappointed with the people who love this music so much, who seemingly refuse to hold these people accountable for that standard. It's got to happen at some point. Otherwise, why should they be listened to? That's how I feel about it. So, YG recently, on August the 16th, because, I get my alerts. I'm on Spotify. I listen to a lot of music. See, a lot of people think I don't follow this stuff and I'm just shading these rappers because I feel like it. No, I'm listening to this stuff. That's why I say what I say. And YG put out, I don't know if this is a mixtape. It seems like a mixtape called Just Read Up, and it's the third part. So apparently there's a Just Read Up 1 and a Just Read Up 2. But on August 16th, Just Read Up 3 got released on Spotify. 19 songs in full. Most of it is street stuff. Going down the track list here, I'm not going to read off the whole thing, but, songs, he's got Go Brazy on here, Put It in My Hand, Street Love, Violence, Rescue Me, Colors, Stupid, Naka, Pimp My Ride. So my thing is,
Pimp My Ride.
In my personal opinion, we have got to start doing a better job of holding some of these individuals to the same standard based upon the socially conscious rhetoric that they like to put out, that they like to publicly expound upon. I'm not here to say YG is not allowed to do peace walks or broker something towards peace, but what I'm saying is, to what extent is it worth if you're still going to be making the same music you've been making for the past decade, where basically you still in the streets talking about what you serve or who you pull up on or what ops you ride up on or who you won't be hesitant to shoot at. And as far as I'm concerned, his content has not removed him from that rhetoric. And that's where the rubber meets the road for me. Me personally, I hold these guys to that standard. So if you're going to be Meek Mill going on Robert Kraft speaking engagements, talking about how the music industry pays more for ignorance, the way that I process that kind of talking point is, you are aware of this, and therefore you are no longer going to profit off of said ignorant music.
Correct.
For you to continue to make ignorant music says to me that you don't even take what you say seriously.
Yes.
And so I'm not gonna, and now with Meek Mill, I'm done. I've seen enough with him where I just don't take him seriously. But with YG, I'm just like, all right, bro, let me see what kind of moves you continue to make when it comes to this music. Because I've said it before and I'll say it again until I'm blue in the face.
Mm.
I was all good with this stuff when it was understood that it is just entertainment.
Mhm.
But YG's era of music, the millennial and on era of music, is the brand of music which stipulates this is not just entertainment. It's actually life. It's
Right.
real life. It's
Mhm.
culture.
Mhm.
So if I am to believe that this is culture and you are going to be socially conscious in this manner, then you have a responsibility at that point to match your music with what you say publicly. Otherwise, no one should listen to anything that you have to say.
Yeah, man, I agree, man. And my thing is with YG is yeah, he'll have these moments, like you said, man, these double speaking moments where he's politically conscious. Now he's not out here going crazy with it. He's politically conscious in the sense of a street form, so F Trump and all that other stuff.
Right.
But so when he does these things, whenever he's doing things that are positive, it's still, to me, he's doing it in an entertaining way. So this fits his brand, that he's so blood that he'll unite blood. And that's the part about this that's like, it's part of his stage act again. So it's not really a genuine thing. So, I can't stand for it. The more I think about this, the least I like it. I really do. And here's my thing with gang stuff. I gotta touch on this again. Now, I gotta put my tinfoil hat on. Guys, you can join me if you want. But gangs were created in order to curb upward mobility. And from the West Coast itself, Mr. Rick Ross, the real Rick Ross, not the rapper, he himself, made, admissions with his affiliations with very important people in order for him to get his hands on so much product. The product that eventually turned into the crystallized version of it that end up damaging our neighborhoods and our communities in the 80s, where these street fraternities use these things and continue to use these things to create bad circumstances. I've also heard things from places in like Chicago and the Midwest where they're ex-members or people who are currently, I guess, finding guns on the side of railroad tracks and other things. You try to figure out where these guys get these, military arms from. I mean, you can't go to the pawn shop and buy those. So where are they getting these things? So you really have to ask yourself, what are these street fraternities really about? Because, well, it is a fraternity. You got to get initiated. There's secret symbols and secret coding words. There's rituals. And there's all types of things that's going on with these things. A lot of the symbols that are used in these gangs can also be found in lodges and other places where there's people doing things in secret in a fraternity fashion. So the street fraternity's main objective is, like I said, is to damage the surrounding neighborhoods. So the OGs, the guys that send these little kids on their drill missions and all this other stuff, these guys are well plugged in. All right. There's no way that these guys aren't getting scooped up because of how many years they've been in the streets banging and stuff like this, but they're still in the neighborhoods calling shots. And I don't think that's because those guys are so slick and so evasive. I think it's because the fraternity is serving its purpose.
I don't think you're being tinfoil hat with this, though.
Hey man, some people
You're,
may
yeah,
think.
I know, I know why you said that, but honestly, I don't think this is tinfoil hat territory. I think this is, I think simple research on history can enlighten people on the factual nature of the things that you speak of,
Yeah,
without you getting too specific, obviously.
for
But I
sure.
don't even think this is tinfoil hat. This is just American history, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I agree. And this is for the young people out there, or whoever else that may think that gangs were just a mere creation of circumstances that people in the neighborhood did because they didn't have any other choice. I holler BS on that. And I think it's something a little bit bigger than that. So these young men, YG included, got caught up in that wave. This guy was banging as a young person, and he's one of those people, as I mentioned in my first talking point, was that he really loves this, and so he's a lost cause in my book, because even his peace efforts is for the fraternity. So I would say this, for anybody that is watching that likes to holla gang and think that all that stuff is cool because rappers are doing it. Please reconsider. I think these guys are given the platform, as Meek Mill mentioned. Ignorance is promoted, and that's why Lil Wayne went blood for whatever reason back then, and everybody else wanted to follow suit in the rap industry. So yeah, man, I can't go for this. Yeah, the more I think about it, the least I like it. Like I said.
Yeah, I don't blame you. And just to piggyback a little bit off of what you're referring to, for anyone who is not aware of this, because I don't presume to know what people know and don't know, but just do a little Wikipedia search on Reaganomics and Ronald Reagan's second administration and the Iran Contra scandal, and it enlightens you on some of the things that were happening on American soil when it comes to the formation of gangs in a lot of urban cities.
Mm-hmm.
To piggyback off of what you were saying. So I'll go that far, because that to me is not tinfoil hat. Like, these things happen. Like, no one's making this stuff up,
Mm-hmm.
Despite what your favorite rappers like to brainwash you into believing is truth.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, at the end of the day, these guys, unfortunately, are trendsetters and influencers
Mm-hmm.
for an all too sizable percentage of our community, unfortunately. And so I have accepted that, nevertheless, as the reality. And as I have accepted it as the reality, for people in his position to speak on this, you have got to match what you do away from your political punditry, with your music. You just have to. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand the two. I can't. It gives me cognitive dissonance to watch some of these guys try to have their toes in two different sands. Like, if you're going to be on this, make music to speak in kind.
Right.
And if you still want to be making that same kind of music, you can't talk like this.
Right.
Because unfortunately, these people in these neighborhoods and these kids, they do accord individuals like him a certain amount of reverence when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to what they have to say on this stuff. And I think a lot more of us, not just people who look like me and you, but people who follow this music and follow this quote unquote culture, allies and such, people who you don't even got to be black. But I think it's way past time for these people to be held accountable for the stuff that they say, juxtaposed to the kind of content they make. You cannot do stuff like this in good faith, but then continue to make the same music that you make. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I tend to be a principled person who operates on a certain standard. And I just want everyone else to understand the importance of upholding such a standard. But until that happens universally across the board, I guess we're on a wait and see pattern. But best believe that JV Wins, not to refer to myself in the third person, is going to start calling out people like YG, just like I call out people like Meek Mill, who proceed to double talk after
Mm-hmm.
they have begun to make a name for themselves as somebody who's on this peace stuff or about doing the right thing or being a little more enlightened. People need to be held accountable for this stuff. Words are powerful. that we are no longer in a point where we can say sticks and stones, but words don't hurt. No, these words mean something. This music is palpable. It means something, unfortunately. And you got to be consistent with what you do, you know, out of the studio. And if he's going to continue to be inconsistent in that regard, then this channel will proceed to call stuff like that out. So
yeah, 100. And so I mean, best of luck to you guys. The first time I heard of fruits pyru, it was you may not remember this, but it was a clip of Soldier Boy. It was probably like 2017, 2018, and he was in the streets talking about who said I ain't fruits? Who said I ain't fruits? And then some guy, like ran down on him or something, and he just scrambled and dropped the phone or whatever the hell. But yeah, man, I never really I really don't know the inner workings of why there's intra beef. I didn't even know that was really much of a thing. I mean, I assume it happens here or there or whatever, but from the sounds of this, it sounds like he's trying to make a statement to all the beefing that's going on within Bloods, which to me, I don't understand that either. So it to me, that just adds another component to the divisiveness this stuff is doing in our communities. And the last thing I'll say is the wild thing about that is because even though he was trying to, show the camera and show all the people walking with him in a powerful, statement type of thing, I still saw guys that were trying to be, gangsters.
They was looking for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, hey man, we got to stop that, So, yeah, man, I started off saying it's a step in the right direction, but this is more lateral to backwards. Yeah. So, sorry, Mr. YG. Best of luck to everybody out there in those communities. Stay strong out there. And yeah, man, we got to end it all, all of this stuff.
Yeah, it would have been more powerful if it was a walk to end.
Yeah, dude.
In the gang, period. Like, no matter what chapter it is, but to just get rid of it. but and I'm not trying to be dismissive towards it. Not my world, man. But we need to just hold these guys accountable. That's the whole thing for me is we cannot accept what they say in that specific instance, but then the second that he drops an album or a mixtape or whatever, and he's back on that same old stuff, we just ignore it and act like it's no big deal. We can't have it both ways.
Yeah, pimp my ride, dog. Pimp my ride.
Yeah, shouts out to well, never mind. No, but we'll see. We'll keep monitoring this situation. But for now, that'll be all that we got on this particular story. Now we got to talk about another. Honestly, man, we're gonna get into Vlad in a future segment.
Yeah,
but I really don't see much of a difference between Vlad and Michael Rubin personally. But Michael Rubin got into some social media, internet hot water because he made a controversial statement while being a guest on the Breakfast Club, basically talking about how he's noticed that when it comes to Black culture, it's popular or prominent for Black people to hate on one another. And he said it, in his opinion, he had his intentions behind saying it. Obviously, it did not go over well. A lot of people felt it is not his place to speak on it. And so he had to issue a retread. But he initially got into hot water for his statements in the first place. Mm-hmm. So let's see if we can. So here is initially what he said. So this says Michael Rubin catches serious flack for revealing what he dislikes about Black culture. Uh-oh. Michael Rubin is someone who is in close proximity to Black culture. Overall, the Fanatics entrepreneur has friendships with the likes of Meek Mill, Jay-Z, Drake, and many other artists in the hip hop world. Throughout the years, some have questioned this proximity and his intentions. However, Rubin continues to be defended by those who know him best. Not to mention, the who's who of entertainment can be found at his yearly white party, with the latest outing being the biggest yet. Recently, however, Michael Rubin found himself in a bit of a controversy, as it's all his own doing. The entrepreneur was on the Breakfast Club, where he offered up some comments about what he dislikes about Black culture. As you can see below, Rubin said that he doesn't like when Black people hate on other Black people. He subsequently used some of the backlash against Meek Mill as an example of this. However, many didn't appreciate just how comfortable he was with making these comments. So let me go ahead and play what he had to say here. This is from an Instagram clip posted to the Neighborhood Talk of the thing that got him in some, social media hot water with a lot of people.
The thing I don't like about that is it doesn't bother me for me. It bothers me that it actually, when I see the narrative of a really good friend of mine like Meek, and people trying to, again, if he was gay, which there's not one gay bone in his body, who cares? Number one, let's say if people want to be gay in 2024, who the fuck cares? Okay. Number two, there's not a gay bone in his body. So like, why do people want to lie about that? Why do people want to change a narrative of bet he made with me to try to hurt him? Like, that is the one thing I've learned about, and look, I'm just being blunt because it's me. So one thing I've learned about Black culture that I don't like is that Black hate on hate.
Speak on that more. I heard you say that earlier, and I wanted you to expound on that. You said you don't like to see Black people tearing down other Black people.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like, like it's horrible. Like, what? Like, I want to support look. You guys know me pretty well. Anything I can ever help with, I'm always there. I always want to be helpful. I feel lucky and fortunate to do what I do every day. To be as, whatever success I've had, I feel blessed to do that, and I want to give back in every way I can. In business and in charitable things, I'm always trying to be helpful. Like, why does someone want to bring somebody else down? Let's try to build everybody up. Like, I'd be more excited if I'd be more excited to see one of my friends do something that's 99% less meaningful to me, but it would be really meaningful to them because I want them to do great. I want everyone around me to do great. I don't like watching, there's a little bit, and you tell me, you guys correct me if you think I'm wrong. I think there's a little bit of a Black culture of like, it's Black hate on hate. It's like that Black judge that Meek had that hated on him and wanted to go extra hard on him. Okay. It's like, it's what people always say to me. It's like Black hate on hate. So I think it's terrible. I think it's something that I think it's culturally wrong. And I'll probably get killed for saying this because,
I'm glad you're saying it openly. If this is the conversations that are being had,
have it all the time with
I want to hear this.
Yeah. So I think it's wrong. I think, like, why do you not want to build everyone up around you? Why do you not want everyone around you to do great? The best way for everyone to do great is to push each other up. Okay.
All right. And so let me see if there are some of the reactions to what he had to say. So here are some of the people who reacted here. Why is Michael Rubin on the Breakfast Club talking about Black culture, specifically Black hate, and Charlem Gay asking him to expound on his thoughts? I effing hate some of y'all, man. Laughing my ass off. I'm so dead ass. Here's another response. Michael Rubin being allowed to infiltrate by his way into Black hip-hop culture is nasty work, and is extra nasty because the man who once said we need a board when it comes to the culture is one of his BFFs now. That person he's referring to is obviously Jay-Z. Says Michael Rubin, whose culture and community does nothing but tear down freedmen, FKA Black Americans. A culture vulture has the audacity to speak on freedmen, FKA Black culture. Why isn't he speaking about his community? Why isn't he speaking about how his community tears one another down? Because they do. I think it's weird that Michael Rubin is saying there is a lot of Black on Black hate and Black culture in defense of Meek Mill, but didn't Meek Mill say on stage with Robert Kraft present and said that he's paid more to talk about ignorant stuff? Why should we give a damn about what Michael Rubin has to say about Black culture? So that's some of the response that people had on social media. Since then, Rubin has kind of walked a little bit of this back. He issued something on Twitter where he said, I got a phone call from one of the people I have the most respect for in the world. They told me while they appreciate my intention, it's not my place to speak on Black culture. I get it and really appreciate the input. My intention was to say how important it is that we need to uplift each other, stop hate on each other, and push each other to win, and always root for each other's success. My bad, much love. My bad, much love, and appreciate the feedback. So that was him kind of trying to qualify where he was coming from with those comments on the Breakfast Club. So I am interested to get into this, to hear what you have to say about this. But what do you make of what Michael Rubin said there?
First of all, I agree with the backlash. You know, if I commented online about stuff like this, I would have been saying the same things. I'm about to double, triple down here. Here, my thing is, the main thing that I agree with was the one was like, hey, you know, your community does that too. By the way, everybody's community does it. So for him to hop in on a black radio show and to come in and start telling black people about what they doing wrong, you know, in the fashion that he's doing it, the first thing that was popping in my brain was, you know, wow, they really think we're stupid. I think they really think that we're just all dumb and they can just do or say anything and they'll eat it up. I don't know what he went in there with that talking point. He was going to get that off his chest. He was like, I'm on a Breakfast Club. I'm about to say this to y'all black people. And one thing that people like him do is that they try to perform an inception on people. And in the Inception movie, you know, when they was describing how Inception works to Leonardo DiCaprio, and it was like, you know, pink elephants, you know, don't think about pink elephants. He's like, well, yeah, you know, you're going to start thinking about pink elephants because I said pink elephant. But if I gave you pretty much like a seed of something that leads to that, then you would automatically think that's a thought of your own. And what Mr. Rubin here is doing, and other propaganda things that are done, is that they give these seeds out, you know, on their media platforms. And so with this radio show, he decided to come in and sow a seed so the people could believe it and eat it up and like, you know what? We do hate on our own people. Nothing but crabs in a barrel. You know what I'm saying? What's the other stuff that they say? Self-hate. You know, if you have criticism of a black person for doing something that you don't care for and you feel like they should have more honor and integrity doing it, and you just calling them out on principle, that's not crabs in a barrel. But we've been conditioned to believe that, you know, trying to self-correct within our community is hate. And it's not. And it's that same stuff where you can't criticize nothing. You can't say nothing to nobody. Everybody's so sensitive. So no, man, if there's a black director that is constantly making movies and films and stuff like that deals with the traumas of our people and is constantly pumping that, he had all the resources in the world to do something else, but he's still doing the same damn thing. I'm going to call that out. And by me calling that out, that's not me being a hater. And here's the other thing that they say. Hey, he's getting money. He's getting money.
I hate
See,
that.
you trying to stop him from getting his money? He got more money than you. As if having money is having life figured out. Hey, man, y'all seen some of these people that be on TMZ all the time? These people are supposed to have all the money in the world. These are the messiest people in the world. So do they have it all figured out because they got money? I don't think so. So money doesn't equate to wisdom or anything. And especially in today's day and age, when you're the narcissist and that's what gets you on, if you got a lot of money and you're in the public eye, for the most part, people want to have to start questioning your integrity and who you are as a person. Because the only people that make it to the top, honestly, are the people that we keep seeing having allegations. So Mr. Rubin here wants to sit here and talk about there's not a gay bone in his body, I beg to differ. In Meek Mill's body, I beg to differ. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure Mr. Rubin put his bone in Mr. Meek Mill, especially after he had him bunny hopping on the tennis court. How disrespectful was that? This is the last thing I'll say before I let you go. How disrespectful was that towards our community? One of our best and our brightest, you would say? That's what you would say, Mr. Rubin. He's one of our best and our brightest. You know, so much so that a judge would try to tear him down, right? So one of the best and the brightest of our community, you would sit there and demand for him to bunny hop for the world to see and then post it online. Then when the community was calling our best and our brightest under question, you know, about all of these weird hugs at this all white party. All right, you said on the plane, you recorded another video and said, I'm gonna give you and little baby an aggressive hug tonight. I don't want to hear this, Mr. Rubin. I don't want to hear anything you have to say. So I can go on a lot longer, but sir, I'll let you speak and have the floor. What do you feel? And what are your thoughts on Sir Rubin getting on the Breakfast Club saying that black people tear each other down too much? What are your thoughts?
I agree with all of the people who came out and denounced it. Mm-hmm. And I wish that, because Rubin isn't the only one who does this, I just wish that every other person who does this also gets called out to the same magnitude that he did.
Yeah.
I agree with the backlash as well, but I also understand why he felt comfortable enough speaking in this manner. So we have to remember something. So the issue in question is his audaciousness towards feeling comfortable enough to speak on black culture, despite the fact that he is not a part of black culture. And this is what I will say to that. You really have to pick and parse the words here to understand the pathology behind a person's decisions. What is culture? More specifically, what is black culture? Keep in mind, he made these comments in reference to his relationship to a rapper, in this case, Meek Mill. Now, if there's anyone who is checking us out right now or who's watching this video and you're familiar with the general way that we like to do things on this channel, you are well aware of the many videos that we have published to this channel speaking specifically on the juxtaposition of black culture in relation to hip hop. Furthermore, you also know how uncomfortable I am with the notion that black culture is synonymous with hip hop. You speak on Inception. The idea that black culture and hip hop are synonymous is perhaps one of the most immaculate cultural inceptions of my lifetime. This idea that your culture, this group of people's way of life, is directly tethered to this music form. Therefore, if you want to learn everything there is to know about these people, don't actually interact with them, interface with them, learn about the history, live in the same neighborhoods with them, respect them for decency. Just put on this music and listen to it. Now, you and I and others who know better understand that that's not true. But the world at large, I think the global community, as well as the community in this country who does not directly interact with people who do not look like them on a regular enough basis, do glean what it means to be black, basically from listening to this music and paying attention to what the proprietors of this music do publicly outside of the musical context with respect to what they do on social media, so on and so forth. So the idea is black culture is hip hop and hip hop is black culture. The two are deeply intertwined and therefore synonymous. The reason why an individual like him can be so comfortable speaking on black culture is because due to the fact that hip hop is black culture and hip hop itself has been commodified and sold to the world as a product to be consumed by everybody, people who are invested in making money off of it then become a part of the culture. So in a roundabout way, whether you like it or not, and I do say this like cynically, sarcastically, facetiously even, but in a roundabout way, Michael Rubin is a part of black culture.
Yeah.
Am I happy with that? No, but he is, just like Robert Kraft is, just like Vlad is. These people are black culture. They're a part of it. You know why they're a part of it? Because hip hop is black culture and they're heavily invested in profiteering off of hip hop. Now, if we wanted to draw a clear line in the sand and make it understood that there is a delineation between our actual culture and the music, thereby making it very clear that the music might be an offshoot of one of our cultural exports, but it is not necessarily representative of our culture in its entirety, that would be a different story. But that's not what we've accepted. What we've accepted is our culture is the music and is the culture that surrounds the music directly. And since this music is consumed by everybody worldwide, if you take part in the consumption of it, you therefore take part in the culture of the people who make it, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So Rubin is black culture. He is. And for anybody out there who doesn't like me saying that, don't get mad at me. I'm just reporting the news. I don't like it just as much as you do. I am just as much not a fan of this as you are listening to it. I don't like it, but he is a part of black culture. Therefore, he does have a license to speak in this manner. Now, that ain't good, and I'm not a fan of it, but it is what it is. See, you know, and again, I guess I'm gonna repeat myself, but it is what it is. We did ourselves a grave disservice by allowing the collaborative effort between corporations and the music industry to sell us on the idea that that is our culture. And we gave up our rights to defend against that idea when we said we will allow you to sell this as culture to the world so long as you make us rich in the process. That's all that people like Michael Rubin are doing, brokering deals with people like Jay-Z and Meek Mill and Rick Ross and Lil Baby. For what? You think he's doing this out of the goodness of his heart? He's making money off of this because hip hop is a money-making machine more so than it is an actual representation of a group of people, even though it's positioned that way. And since he is actively a part of this money-making machine, he can't speak in that way. Now, the backlash is understandable. It is. The backlash is understandable. And I agree with the backlash. But the impetus for him feeling comfortable enough to speak on that, I know exactly where it comes from. He's a part of hip hop in a roundabout way. Second-handedly, he's a part of hip hop. And since hip hop and black culture are one and the same, he therefore is, by process of elimination, a part of black culture. Therefore, he can speak like this. The way that he sees it, he is a member of the culture critiquing the culture on how to be better. That's the way he sees it in his mind. So he's going to walk it back because he sees that it pissed a lot of people off. But I bet you if you get him in a room and y'all are having a private conversation about this, he feels well within his right to chastise the way black people treat one another because he feels as though he is a part of the tapestry that is black culture. Once again, not the actual culture of black Americans of African descent, but the commercialized form of culture that's been shoved down people's throats, which is hip hop. So I get why he felt that way. I don't like it, but it is what it is. And if you want people like him to not feel as though they can speak in this manner so freely, we are going to need to do a much better job of detaching ourselves from the idea that we own this music as a form of culture, because it is not, and quite frankly, it never has been.
Hey, man, $1,000. And I also say that me personally, I just feel as though Mr. Rubin here is a plant. He's a plant. People could point out his meteoric rise, but and his involvement, how he got into all of this. But everybody's got a story of how they made it. There's an Ice Spice story out there somewhere of how she made her meteoric rise. So just because you have a meteoric rise doesn't mean it was an authentic one. I'll just say that. And so my thing is with Mr. Rubin, Vlad, and the other people that, as you mentioned, that are the people call them, vultures, culture vultures, and all that other stuff. But I look at these people as gatekeepers in a way, boundary people, to keep people in a silo of thought. So here's my thing. If somebody out here really subscribes to the notion of crabs in a bucket, crabs in a barrel, however you want to give the analogy, all right? Well, my question to you is, well, what's this condition of the bucket? Who put these crabs in the bucket? And so as you were talking about, hip hop and the industrial form of it that these labels and other things have been doing, that is, in this context, the condition of the bucket. That is the bucket. And then all of these rappers or entertainers that are in this field that are trying to make it to the top, there's other people in there that feel this scarcity situation going on, and they feel as though if I don't make it, then nobody is. So the crab in a barrel mentality takes on its form. But my thing is, who are the people that are putting these conditions together? And as you mentioned, these conditions that these industries and these people have created is called, this bucket is called hip hop. And who's keeping this commercialized form of hip hop? We're not talking authentic hip hop. We're talking about the rap, the co-opted one. And this co-opted bucket is held in structure by people like Rubin. So his all white parties and all his other rituals that he does is all a part of making sure that the people stay in their hero worship and their idol worship of these weirdos. And the black fraternities, whether they're athletes, rappers, or any form of entertainment or whatever, they get invited to these functions. And so while they're getting invited to these functions, they're letting the world know their allegiance and their alliance. You see, these athletes, rappers, and entertainers, especially these basketball players that are making, buku dumb money. Imagine if these guys, when they got together, instead of just dressing in all white and being on a yacht, getting bareback hugs from Rubin. All right. Imagine if they actually used that to actually create an infrastructure for our people that is our own situation, our own bucket, if you will, but not a bucket of scarcity where people have to pull themselves down, a bucket of upward mobility. But that's not what we're getting. So much like how fraternities do in historically black colleges or anywhere else for that matter, the best and the brightest, in air quotes, I say that really in air quotes, the best and the brightest of our people, because if there was our best and our brightest, they wouldn't join those things. But the best and the brightest of our people, in air quotes, join these things in order to, after they leave the fraternity, to come in our communities and say that they're doing work, but they're just doing community service. They're not using their intellect, their connections and stuff like that to uplift the community. They do that to uplift themselves. And while they uplift themselves and they got another black person into that fraternal order or whatever, they then get a job doing something where again, they're creating this, they're keeping the conditions of the bad bucket alive. So just like how they do in universities and stuff like that, they do that with athletes and entertainers. And Michael Rubin is one of the ringleaders of that circus. So that's why when he calls his all-white party and he's telling Meek Mill to bunny hop on command, this is his, and I'm going to give you a naked hug tonight, Mr. Little Baby. Whenever he's saying these things, that's because he's in a position of an authority over these people, because his money talks for them. And so he is so bold that he got on Breakfast Club and thought everybody in our community was as dumb as those rappers. I'm here to tell you, Mr. Rubin, not all of us are idiots, and not all of us are going for it. Yeah, I see clips of Breakfast Club floating online. I don't watch it or listen to these clowns. All right. And so the people out there that do listen to those morons in the morning, I wish those people the best. But not everybody thinks like that, Mr. Rubin. So I'll just tell you like that, man. He can go kick rocks, I'm not saying that a white man can't speak on, other cultures and have something to say, but that was real bold. It was something about that was just real distasteful. And like you said, the audacity for you to get up there and just talk like that, like you can go to a Mexican place and talk about a Mexican stereotype. You know what I don't like about Mexicans? You can't say that. Go to an LGBT friendly thing. You know what I don't like about the gays? You can't say that. So why do you feel so bold to do that for the African American community? Like I said, I think he got so bold whipping around those celebrities that he think that everybody go for that dumb stuff. So yeah, get out of here, Mr. Rubin. Not buying it. Breakfast Club, you guys fail again. Boy, it only took Charlemagne a week. But even then, Charlemagne didn't even agree with this. He was just like, hey, man, I wanted to bring you on there to clarify that. But still, this is a goofy show. Breakfast Club, y'all can kick rocks. My bad, bro. I had to get that out my chest.
No, I feel you. I think the reason why he was, bold, audacity, and let me say one other thing real quick, because, I brought up, the music again.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to say, well, real hip hop isn't like that. I know that there's a difference. Okay.
Yes.
We recognize that there is a delineation between actual hip hop in its most pure form and what we would call rap music today.
Right.
The issue with it is it has all coalesced into a general, it's a blob. It's all been coalesced into one giant blob and called hip hop. So this goofy music is now masquerading as hip hop. We know that there's a difference, but that is what it is called.
Correct.
So we get that there's a difference. And the reason why he feels comfortable enough speaking in this way is because in his heart of hearts, and I believe this, he believes he is a part of said culture. He believes he's a part of that.
Yeah.
He believes. See, people are mad at him because they look at him on the outside and they say, you're not a part of this culture. So how can you feel so comfortable speaking in this way? He is probably saying to himself, why are they getting upset with me? I'm one of you. I'm speaking like this because I'm a part of your culture. I'm one of you. And I'm trying to help you. I'm dead serious. I'm dead ass.
Yeah.
He's probably saying to himself, I'm one of you and I'm trying to help you. Why are you rejecting the help that I'm trying to give you? And the problem with all of this is him feeling like this is built upon a fallacy of a foundation that is rooted in something that he is a part of that has been masquerading as culture that isn't actually culture. And we can throw this word around all day, every day, and you can dismiss it as not being so important, but it is. Words matter. Words matter. And the music and the ecosystem around the music and the people who are a part of making it, both behind the scenes and in front of the microphone, have all been complicit in the perpetuation of the idea that the music and the environment surrounding it represents this group of people.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a part of the consumption of that music, you therefore can be a part of that culture itself. It's a slick Jedi mind trick. This is why somebody like 50 Cent can publicly say his power shows authentically represent Black and Latino communities. That's why he can say that.
Yeah.
If we drink that Kool-Aid, why wouldn't somebody like Rubin drink it?
Oh yeah.
And furthermore, if people like him do business with someone like Rubin, why wouldn't he feel as though he is well within his right to say that? So once again, I'm not in and of itself defending him. I'm kind of being chide and cynical, and I hope people are understanding the point that I'm trying to make with this. He is a part of the culture. Therefore, that is why he can speak that way. But there's a problem with the fact that he is a part of the culture, and we therefore have to dissect what does it even mean to be part of the quote-unquote culture. That's where the rubber meets the road with this whole thing. And until we take that power back, which I don't think we ever will, because there's too much money to be made in the perpetuation of the idea that that is the culture, then these infiltrators will continue to speak comfortably on it because why not? They're a part of it. They're one of us. Rubin is on our side of the fence, just like Kraft and Vlad and the rest of these people. There are some others that I can think of, but those are the ones that come immediately to mind because they have profited the most off of it, from what I can tell. But I completely get it. And if you don't like it, I think you need to be a part of the conversation that further examines what Black culture even means, because that's the crux of the argument.
Yeah, man. And so all these all white party attendees, James Harden, Kyle Kuzma, they're out here wearing their assless chaps on a boat. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? That y'all can have at it, man. But the further y'all go down that road, the further you guys are separating yourselves from the people, and the people can see y'all. This is not 2004. This is not 1995. There's a lot of information online, and there's a lot of people out there that know exactly what these clowns are up to. So, yeah, we're not buying it here. I know I'm not buying it for sure. All right. And yeah, as you mentioned, this guy feels like he's a part of the fabric of the community because he can chop it up with Meek Mill. So, you know what I'm saying? So, have at it, man. So, provide more good content, Mr. Rubin, because I know he's gonna do more because he's a part of our community apparently. So,
yes, he is.
He's self-invited to the cookout. He came to the cookout telling us the mac and cheese don't taste right. Listen to this guy. Yeah. Boy, get out of here. Nobody want that creamy stovetop mac you talking about, man.
Yeah. He's sitting down at the table telling us a better way to make potato salad. That's what he's doing.
Talking about some put raisins in it. Boy, get out of my kitchen. Get out of my kitchen.
Yeah. I'm not buying it, man. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But at this point, our culture doesn't even exist. And since it doesn't exist, it isn't real. When something isn't real, it can be filled with all types of imposters. So, until it is made whole, we will have to learn how to coexist with the imposters.
Facts. 100.
And it's been a while since we did a little Caitlin Clark on the channel. Shannon Sharpe is once again coming to bat for Caitlin Clark as Caitlin Clark continues to receive her rookie hazing. She continues to get hated on, quote unquote, by other WNBA players as well as the sports world and WNBA as a whole. And Shannon Sharpe ain't here for it, man. Shay is not liking the treatment, and he went so far as to express how he feels about this situation on Nightcap with Chad Ochocinco, and he just feels like she's getting hated on. For anyone who hasn't seen this, there was a situation after one of her recent games. She broke like the all-time rookie record for like assists in a game, or assists, not assists in a game, but assists for a season for a rookie, I believe. And she's walking off the court, kind of clapping with the crowd. And Skylar Diggins, who I've always personally had a fondness for Skylar Diggins, appeared to kind of go out of her way to walk up on Caitlin Clark and give her a little shoulder shrug. And Shannon Sharpe is just like, hey man, what's the deal with that? Why won't y'all let this chick cook? Stop hating on the girl. So here's what Shannon Sharpe had to say in reference to Caitlin Clark getting a little chin check treatment from Skylar Diggins. And he just in general is not here for what he perceives to be a little too much of cheese on the taco when it comes to how these people are treating Caitlin Clark.
I'm just trying to, but Ocho, let me ask you this. When I just saw Asia go off, ain't nobody walking in bumping into her.
Ain't nobody finna bump into Asia. Asia don't play that. Come on now.
They ain't bumping into Stewie.
You know who?
My thing. If I'm Caitlin Clark,
not to.
If I'm Caitlin Clark, I'd have told Skylar Diggins, get your coat, your brim, and get on out of our gym. Get your coat, your hat, and leave.
Get on out of our gym. I like that.
She don't bump into me. I'm going right get that thing hot. Come on, get hot, people. People.
Yeah, I don't think
people. I'm getting hyped.
Yeah, I don't think she got that in her. She not. I mean, she's a dog through her style of play. Through her play, she's a dog. I don't think she has that trash.
Man, y'all stop this foolishness. Y'all see the woman's feet up. Y'all see her. Caitlin Clark is getting the crowd and
Right.
going. Y'all see Skylar Diggins speed up to make contact with her. Stop this. Y'all mad because that corn-fed Iowa girl busting y'all ass. Y'all
Hey.
said she too weak. She can't do this. She lead the WNBA in assists. She cooking. Let her cook.
Hey.
Let her cook.
Hey, she did speed. Look at the speed walk. Watch the speed walk. Ooh.
Yeah. Let that girl cook. She cutting ass. Help us. Hey, she like a double-edged sword, Ocho. She cutting ass left and right. Both sides.
Hey, listen.
Cut them up.
She's doing well for herself. She's doing well for
Yes.
herself. I would like the ladies to welcome her with open arms, and what she brings to the table, what she's brought to the WNBA is, as well as the other rookies that are playing well as well. I know Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese probably get most of the credit.
They do.
And all the news and headlines.
Yep.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing because they have a new fan and a new viewer in me. And
nah, bro, it ain't hype. Y'all keep on talking
she
the great white hype, Ocho. They keep talking about she the great. Ain't no hype. Y'all said the same thing about Larry Bird. I remember. I'm old enough to remember. They said the same thing about Larry Bird. Ain't nothing hype. Ain't nothing hype about Luka. Ain't nothing hype about Jokic. I get it. We're not used to seeing. She got she's saucy with that thing.
Oh yeah.
Watching her in person twice. I've seen her against the Aces, and I saw the All-Star game. She is elite.
All right, so what do you make of that? Do you agree with Shannon? You think they need to let her cook? You think they hating on her? You know, we've talked about Caitlin before on the channel, gave our thoughts, and now the WNBA season has progressed a little bit, so we can kind of see what's been happening. But what do you make of what Shannon said there? You think they need to let her cook or what?
Yeah, I mean, you would think, if we just keeping it basketball, yeah, you just let her cook, like how he said they let Asia cook, because man, Asia's a beast, man. I never really watched her play, but I've been watching some basketball this year, and Asia, she is a monster down there. And they let her do it. So and there's others that do their things too. So nobody, as far as I'm concerned, it's not at least highlighted or stuff like that as getting this type of treatment so much. The WNBA players, when we covered, her initial spats that she was getting, they were saying that, hey, all the rookies got it, white, black, everybody, the top rookies would get this type of hazatory treatment. But that didn't look like hazing to me. That looked like, get the F out of here. You know what I'm saying? I'm sick of this person. But hey, man, the girl is a chef. She be whipping. I mean, some of those assist numbers that she gets are just astronomical. I'll be on Prize Picks, man. Her over under was like 11.5 on assists. I was too scared to hit under. I said, this would be the day she got 13-14 on my ass. She's liable to do that. So there's some women that I don't bet against, and Caitlin is one of them. I don't bet against her. She could hit the over on anything. So she could get rebounds too. So yeah, man, I think the girl's a baller. The thing that I really think that's going on here, and I think I alluded to this before, I try to make it quick though, but it's I just think that women are competitive amongst each other. We see this with women that are not on a basketball court. We see this with women that aren't even in a sport. So this happens in an office place. This happened at school, where girls are beefing with other girls because that girl thinks she all that. And what I think we're witnessing here is that we're seeing grown women do the same type of stuff that we know that women can do. Notice I said can do. I didn't say all women do this. And so, because clearly there's women on that court that didn't bump her. There's women on that court that was like, okay, timeout or whatever, game over, whatever, I'm going to walk over there. But there's some people that got that chip on their shoulder. And I've seen it personally, like I said, at school and at work, where there's an issue with this one girl over here. I'm not seeing what the problem is. Oh, outside of she's getting more attention than everybody else. And so the other thing is that for women, at least from what I noticed, ladies, correct me if I'm wrong. All right. But, you know, attention is very important to women. All right. And when everybody is paying attention to her, then that's honestly like no different, if you will, than the attractive guy that's paying attention to this girl here more than you and others. So, and other guys are paying attention to this one girl. What is about her? I got what she got. What is it about her? You know, she ain't about this, she ain't about that. And then they click up and they hate on the girl. I've seen it in 4K. So I don't think this is so much, you know, people like to try to play race and other weird things. I've seen white girls hating on this girl. So I think it's just that kind of stuff playing out in front of everybody's face on a basketball court. But I think everybody's seen this happen in their own office space. I think everybody saw this happen at school or any other social setting, you know, clubs even. So, you know, so my whole thing is that I think this is just what goes on, and everybody's paying attention to this sport now. So they're starting to see it happen a lot more for their liking, I guess. But I agree with Sir Shay here. The girl, she's certified, man. I was, you know, once I saw her play a few games at Iowa, yeah, I knew the circumstances were, you know, in her favor in a few areas. But, you know, when it comes to she's the best person on the team, yada, yada, she's going to take all the shots, blah, blah, blah. But she's hitting these things from half court, you know, and she's not chucking it. This is one form. So this girl be hitting it, man. So, yeah, she's a baller. She's going to be around for a while, guys. She's going to break a lot of records. So, yeah, if the haters are mad now, they're going to be a lot tighter 5 years from now. But what are your thoughts, sir, on Sir Shay telling these ladies out here to let CC cook? Yeah, you agree with that?
Yep. You know, I refrained from using the word jealousy back when we did our previous Caitlin Clark topics. That tends to be a trigger word, gets people kind of riled up. But it's starting to look more and more like there is an element of jealousy in place here. What, you know, honestly, what's happening with the WNBA is not unusual. Like anyone who follows anything emerging, an emerging trend, could have predicted that this would happen. What's happening with the WNBA currently is what happened with golf when Tiger Woods showed up. Colin Cowherd touches on this. But when something like, it's weird, when you have something that's marginalized, everyone who participates in that thing that's been marginalized, they complain about wanting to get more. They want more exposure. They want more money. They want more resources. They want more attention. But then when they get the more attention and they get the increased exposure, they become insular and they start to say, hey, you wasn't rocking with us before we became more popular. So now we want you to get out of here. Go away. Leave us to our own devices and let us do our own thing. You wasn't rocking with us before, so we don't want you rocking with us now. That's what they're doing with the WNBA. Like prior to Tiger Woods, golf was just whatever. It was this thing that rich white people, frankly, took part in, did it professionally. Tiger Woods shows up. All of a sudden, you know, major championships in golf are leading on SportsCenter, and people are talking about it in mainstream media. That wasn't going on before Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods shows up, all of a sudden golf becomes popular. Now all of a sudden you got these little whiny baby golfers complaining about Tiger Woods. Hey, bro, listen, you didn't move the needle the way he did, right? So if you want to take advantage of the increased attention and exposure that your sport is getting, you're going to have to deal with the fact that that increased attention is anchored by a particular individual that just so happens to not be you. And that's what's happening with the WNBA, in my opinion. I feel like for years, the WNBA was marginalized. It continues to not be a revenue generator. So that aspect of it hasn't changed. It's still subsidized by the NBA. It still does not profit by itself. But it was always this marginalized league, didn't make a ton of money, didn't really move the needle. The only people who really paid attention were hardcore fans, and they complained. They want to make as much money. They want to make more money. They want to be able to make enough money on their contracts that they don't have to supplement their income by doing other things or going to play overseas during the off season or whatever. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It was one complaint after the next. Caitlin Clark shows up. Now they're getting the increased attention and the increased exposure. Ratings are higher and all of this good stuff. And that increased exposure is being met with some acrimony on the part of some of these players who were around before she got here. And now they're feeling some type of way about it because they're saying, hey, you wasn't rocking with us before. So even though we got everything that we wanted because we're more popular and we're getting more attention, we now, in a weird roundabout way, resent that attention. Why? Because the attention is not being accorded to me. It's being accorded to her. Or it's not being accorded to a lot of us evenly who've been here and we're great players in our own right. It's being accorded to her. And so we feel some type of way about that. And it manifests itself in ways like what you saw with Skylar Diggins or with Angel Reese, who's still trolling her, right? Or some of these other players, Diana Taurasi, who low-key, I don't think Diana Taurasi likes low-key, I think Diana Taurasi does not like Caitlin Clark.
She don't.
Yeah, she won't say it publicly, but I feel like she feels some type of way about her. And it's like, hey, look, she's the one who's come here and you got what you wanted. Not everything is going to be exactly as you intended for it to be. So how did you think the increased attention was going to come? You didn't think that there was going to be a star player attached to that?
Right.
You thought you were just going to get that attention organically? Like it was just going to happen like out of nowhere? Like there's going to be something culturally that takes place that spearheads the attention.
Right.
When we're talking about sports, that thing is going to be a particular player. It is what it is. It's what Mike did for the NBA.
Correct.
So now in retrospect, you got everything you've been complaining about because the higher ratings, the increased corporate sponsorships, the attention, the increased scrutiny is going to lead to more of a revenue for your sport overall, which means the teams are going to be able to afford bigger, better contracts for some of y'all.
Correct.
Everything y'all been complaining about. You already got the chartered flight, so you don't have to fly commercial no more. She has something to do with that too, whether you like it or not. So all of the things that you've been complaining about are starting to trickle in slowly but surely. Now that you're getting it, you want to complain about the conditions that they came under. But once again, we've seen this in other aspects of life. We see it in other industries. This is not solely endemic to the WNBA. It happened with golf. It happened with baseball, where old heads, the old guard who've been doing this are resentful towards the new breed who have come in and are primarily responsible for that attention. And the thing is, you're going to have to deal with that. It is what it is, man. I've experienced some of this on a much smaller scale growing up as a kid. I was into certain books or video games or movies, right? And they were indie sorts of things. Like nobody's really playing this game. All of a sudden, something happens and the game becomes popular. Now everybody's playing the same video game I've been playing for 5 years. Or now all of a sudden everybody is going to watch, these movies in the theater, but I've been knowing about this because I've been reading the books. Or some of these people like Harry Potter, for example. How many people I know who was reading those books and then it became popular because of the movies, and the people who've been reading the books are mad at the people who want to go watch the movies. So we see this all the time. And my thing is, stop bitching, because what you want, which is increased notoriety for the thing that you love so much, is going to come with some sort of cultural mover of the needle. And I feel like to be angry or resentful towards that is a form of unreasonably trying to have your cake and eat it too. So I'm with Shannon Sharpe. Let the chick cook.
Yeah, 100, man. And listen, they were on, in order to make this happen, as you mentioned, there had to be a cosmic shift. tectonic plates had to be moved. And so in order for this to happen, man, yeah, it had to be that person. Reese is out there doing her thing, man. She's doing her thing, but the phenomenon of what Caitlin Clark is doing, as far as people watching and paying attention because of her and all this other stuff, it's gonna be weird for the people that were really into it, with all these inflooding normies that's coming in. I'm one of them. All right. So I'm gonna come in with my ignorant takes. I'm gonna come in with my stuff or whatever, but don't bash us, man. And but the eye test shows and her stats show that this girl do this. And so for Angel Reese breaking the double record this year, for anybody, not just rookies, for Caitlin Clark to break the assist record, we still got season to go.
Right. Yeah.
And so so Caitlin and at the clip she shoots threes, she's going to be in contention for a lot of all-time records. So I just say I don't think people are so, like I said, I don't think it's so much that those women are it's not, I don't consider it, I just think it's just normal.
It is. Yeah.
Sorry, bro. It's just normal behavior.
Yeah.
And I think that this is not this, it shouldn't be read into anything deeper than that. But of course people are gonna make their comparisons and say their things. But honestly, man, I think that she's great for the sport, whether the old heads like it or not. But these new girls are good. So something happened. Whether they got more into it or the training or something. But these new girls, like some of the girls in college right now, they're gonna hit the ground running too. Maybe not what she's doing, but they're gonna hit the ground running. So yeah, man, I'm disappointed in Miss Diggins or Miss Diggs or whatever her name is, man. I'm disappointed in her, man. She I see why you favor her. I would expect, and she a baller too. So I would expect that she didn't, But and last thing I'll say, but to be fair, all of these women, not all of them, but a lot of these women that are in the league right now were the alphas of their class or of their whatever, and they thought they were going to be the splash person. You couldn't have told me that Diana Taurasi wasn't going to be the splash person.
Hey, I feel the same way. I thought Maya Moore was going to do it. I thought it's a lot of them that I thought was going to do it. Taurasi, Maya Moore, hell, they were just in the pantheon of WNBA. They just are great players, but they didn't culturally move the needle like that.
Yeah,
they're just great players, and there's no slouch in being a great player, but these humans don't come along very often. It's why when it happens, it's such a big deal, because it's not like it's something that happens all the time. We since have not had another person in boxing that's like Muhammad Ali. When was Muhammad Ali in his heyday? In the 60s? It's been 50, 60 years since Muhammad Ali ceased to be relevant in boxing. Still ain't had nobody like that. Yeah, there's been popular names. You've had your Tysons and your Mayweathers, but a cultural revolutionary, that's a whole nother level. And the WNBA, in the grand scheme of the life of sports, is still very young. So it's not hard to imagine that we have not experienced that with this particular league up until this point. So the rest of y'all are just great players. And I don't mean to be dismissive, but it is what it is. The only reason why I even know a lot of these players is because I follow sports. A lot of my casuals who don't follow sports like that know who she is. That tells you something. Exactly. Just like they know who Michael Jordan is, just like they know who LeBron is.
Right.
Like And I love the NBA. So it's easy for me to resent them because, oh, you only really looking at this because of LeBron. But it's like,
Mhm.
oh, well, that's kind of the way this stuff works.
Mhm.
That's just kind of the way it works. But you know, you're a great player. I think you can take solace in that and be proud of it. But she just happens to be the linchpin. It is what it is. And so I think it's wasted energy to feel some type of way about it. Like to shoulder shrug her, that part to me is like, she ain't do nothing to you. You know what I'm saying? Like it is what it is. But this is very normal, I think. As a nerd, I saw this with Harry Potter. You know, the bookies, the people who follow the books got mad at the people going to the movies and felt like, nah, we want more popularity, but we want it on our terms.
Mhm.
Same thing with the Lord of the Rings people. When the movies started coming out, all of these people who've been following Lord of the Rings and know all of the details and know everything about the books, they want the popularity, but they want it on their terms.
Correct.
Game of Thrones is another one. Game of Thrones got super popular because of the TV show on HBO, pissed off everybody who's been reading the books. So you want the popularity, you just want it on your terms. And it's the same thing with the WNBA. You want the popularity, you just want it on your terms.
Mhm.
And I think what we're seeing with a lot of these players is they're showing through their behavior that they feel some type of way about the terms of the popularity being Caitlin Clark.
Sorry. And sorry. Well, and because I'm a normie, bro. I'm extremely casual with WNBA stuff. But if I hear your name and I know you by face, you're doing something. So I didn't want to hear about Diana Taurasi. I was forced to. I didn't want to know about Sue Bird. I was forced to. There's a few other ones that are part of this, newer thing. The one that shot with Curry. I still can't even think of her name. Yeah. I know who she is.
Right.
I just don't know her name, but I know who she is. And she can ball. She can ball. Plum can ball. So there's I've heard of names, but they didn't. When I heard they name, the needle did this. And but Caitlin Clark, it was so ridiculous. I had to go see what this is. I was like, come on, man. Y'all being ridiculous. I know that these girls, I know that there's always good women that play. But then I saw what she was doing. And I was like, oh, this girl here is taking it to him. She was taking it to him. And so, yeah, she had to have a learning curve. But it didn't take that long.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, this girl, she's prime time. She's that's what Stephen A would say. She's prime time.
Box office.
Yeah. She's box office. She is. And whether you like it or not, you got to deal with it. And hey, guys, we're going to be hearing Caitlin Clark's name for the next 15 years. At least next 10. Solid. And if she's shooting like this, that shot don't go nowhere, people. So if she's always shooting like this, man, good luck. And rightfully so, ladies. Y'all gonna finally get y'all bag. But I think that those women that are in the league now won't see that bag. So the hate is gonna be immense. So you know what I'm saying? Only Caitlin's gonna get that bag. And all of them are just gonna look with just I don't want to say envy and none of those things, man. But it is what it is, dog. They wish they were in that position, and they thought they was going to be in that position. And like I said, man, you couldn't tell me that I don't even know what Sue Bird looks like. I would just hear her name. Like somebody showed me 3 pictures right now. They say which one Sue Bird. I don't know, but I just know that she was that person. And so if your name rings bells like that. You know what I'm saying? You think that you're going to go into the league and do what Caitlin Clark's doing, but she actually did it. So give this girl her flowers, man, and be on the right side of things, man. You know what I'm saying? And last thing I say, and the only thing I asked when we first talked about this stuff was just roast her ass. If this is all hype, stop her.
Mm-hmm.
I only saw one girl do it. I had to look her name up. Her name was I've already got it already. Dejanay or Carrington or something like that. She plays for the Sun, Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're the Sun, but she plays for Connecticut. And so she was the only person that I saw. I saw her play her twice at least. She probably played her more, but I saw 2 of those examples. And she kept her in check when she was guarding her. So my thing is, if you feel like this is hype, you feel like she ain't got no handles, you feel like all this other stuff, and you want to bump her, stop her, man. When we played, and there was a guy that people picking first, thinking he got it. I said, let me guard this guy, because I know he ain't about it, and I would stop him. So because I know he not about it, or somebody that ain't got dribble and they bring it past half court, I know he can't dribble, so I'm going to take it. So if she can't do these things, stop her. Oh, y'all can't stop her? She's still getting 30 points and 12 assists and 8 rebounds while she did that? Oh, then she is better than you. So get over it. Get over it, man. There's bigger fish to fry in the world.
Yeah, I'm with Shay on this one. Let her cook. She broke the rookie assist record. That was the record she broke.
Yep.
So yeah, shouts out to Caitlin Clark, man. I think she's really good for real, and it is what it is, man. She has a man's game, and that might come off as sexist, but the best female basketball players I've ever seen are the ones that I look at, and they remind me of how a guy plays. So she has a man's game, just like Maya Moore had a man's game. They play like dudes. The way that they move, the move sets that they have, the ball skills that they got. And so she's just really good for real. And like you, I think that I agree. I think you just need to get over it.
Yeah, that girl from Dallas too. She be whipping with that ball. I forgot her name, but she golly, and she tore him up in the All-Star thing too. Nigerian girl, I think. But yeah, man, they got some girls out there that can hoop. But yeah, man, she got good handles. I like how she ball, man. But shout out to the ladies out there, man. Still out there balling.
Yeah, I'll look that up.
No.
And now we have something interesting which took place. We have a woman who went viral on TikTok for posting a video of the clothes that she chose to wear to a job interview. And, according to her, the interview was postponed until a later date to give her time to show up in what the recruiter, the company, felt was more appropriate job attire, interview attire. So more new human behavior as far as I'm concerned. But let's see, this from Black Enterprise says TikToker goes viral after wearing shorts to the interview, almost cost her a job. A viral TikTok video has people asking if it's appropriate to wear shorts to a job interview. TikToker MTY Rashida Daly, because I don't know what the MTY part's supposed to stand for, but her name is Rashida Daly. Risha, sorry, so it's Risha Daly. Risha Daly posted a video claiming she was dress coded by a recruiter when she came in for a job interview wearing a white blouse, sweater, and black shorts. The recruiter rescheduled for another day, but asked the creator to change. I just got dress coded during an interview, and then they decided to reschedule the interview with me for tomorrow. But before they rescheduled, the lady was like, would you like to come back? Like, go change and then come back. And I was like, no. She then stood back from the camera to give viewers a good look at her interview attire, including the shorts. So here is said video of her posting about what she wore to this job interview. All right, so let me.
Yeah, I think that thing might just play in the app or on the program.
Yeah, it does.
Website, I mean. Yeah, because it's getting weird with me too.
All right, so
shorts to an interview. I gotta say that's a bit of a first.
Yeah, well, bit of a first, but can we be surprised these days?
No, unfortunately.
So here we go.
Okay, go ahead.
So let me bring this back. All right.
I can barely hear it.
All right, so it's not a very long video. And if I can get rid of this and bring this back, just so that we can see some of these reactions. All right, the article goes on to say the video has been flooded with comments, over 27,000 to be exact, from followers and critics questioning why she thought wearing shorts to a job interview would go over well. On both TikTok and X, social media users wondered what the job was for. One user asked if, okay, so her name is Tarisha.
Hey, we got it. Okay, there you go. I'm about to say we had to spin the wheel
for a camp counselor position. Another user asked if the job was for a lifeguard. Some commentators accused the creator of clickbaiting because most people know that it is inappropriate to wear shorts to an interview. Other viewers were surprised she was asked for the opportunity to interview. Offering to reschedule was very generous of them. Other sympathetic viewers said the issue was more of a teachable moment than an attack. Wearing shorts in the office will always be looked at as a huge no-no, and most people won't wear them even if the job allows it. A career-guided article by job search engine Indeed laid out some guidelines on how to properly dress for a job interview. It starts by researching the company's dress code. Even if it's listed as casual, dressing more professional than the employer may be beneficial. It is also recommended to wear clothes that match the season and climate. And lastly, be yourself. It's okay to show some personality, but more so by wearing bold colors to show how you will conquer the role. So this woman here, this creator, Tyresha, did it give her a last name?
We're gonna call her Daily.
Where did it give her name at? But whatever. So yeah. So she posted that, and I've never heard of this before. Dress coded. That's a new one to me. But she said she was dress coded. I'm going to gather from that she feels as though she was being treated unfairly. But
Yes.
what do you make of this situation here and her posting this? The fact that she wore this to a job interview and she feels some type of way because told her to go back and reschedule.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I kind of don't blame her for thinking like this, because she seems to be a newer person, and she seems to, I think she really felt like, well, this is casual, this is, I'm not showing nothing, she says, my chest is covered. My cheeks aren't showing. What's the big deal? But the big deal here is that, and my thing is that, a lot of women, and black women, were online, not chastising her, but getting at her like, hey, this ain't it. You still have to be professional. And yeah, I've wore long pants to all interviews. I'm a guy, but I mean, I'm giving that for context because I've done maintenance jobs. I had to go in an interview to do maintenance. And as I'm going there to do maintenance outside, I still wore pants. So, I don't know. I don't know what this is where people just want to do whatever they want. So, and so that's why I don't really necessarily want to, attack her. It's just she's a product of this mentality that we have going on right now of well, I personally think this is okay, so I'm going to do whatever I want. And we talk about here often about being yourself and doing your own thing and walking your own path. However, there are structural things in place for reasons that make sense to honor them. And for me, shorts for women, and honestly men, shorts in the workplace is a little too casual. I agree. And I agree with what the article said. Like, even if there's like casual and the job allows it, unless you're working outside, I will wear those pants. And me personally, I just don't want to stand out for that. So I would rather stand out for my work performance than how fashionably inclined I may be at wherever. And so again, but I just think that she called it dress coding. I got dress coded. She was real upset about it. She was real sassy with it. But all of these ways of behaving is, as I mentioned, the current set of young people 25 and below, I can say at least confidently. And she looks like she fits this mold. So I don't blame her. I think this is just a reflection of society, man. We're going to have a lot more of this. But what are your thoughts, man, on this young lady here, attempting to wear shorts to a job interview? Do you feel like society needs to come off of this and allow this? Because, well, she's not showing much. You feel like that she was wronged here?
She's lucky she got the opportunity to
right.
Like she going out here making TikToks, acting like she's been victimized.
Right.
She's lucky she was given the chance to come back.
Correct.
Because I've been in several interview settings where if you do that, the people performing the interview are going to make conclusions about your approach to professionalism.
Correct.
Based upon your decision to dress that way. Correct. And they are going to determine that those conclusions are enough to disqualify you from being considered in the running for the job. Okay. So she's lucky she was even given the chance to come back. Mm-hmm. I agree with you. She is a byproduct of her societal environment. Mm-hmm. In saying that, is it really her fault? Not necessarily. Mm-hmm. I've said this also before, and I'll say it again. We are currently in the midst of a society that is attempting to socially deconstruct everything. Yep. We want to deconstruct the propriety of sex work. We want to deconstruct what parenting means. We want to deconstruct gender norms and roles. And we want to deconstruct professionalism, apparently. We want to just completely rewrite what it means to be professional, as if there is something wrong with the previously established rules upon which we have determined what professionalism means, which is dress professionally. Like, it really is like it's an attempt. It's a deep-seated mental thing, right? It's a psychological ploy. We really want to rewrite the very definition of what professionalism means. Like we want to recreate humanity in a new design, one which stipulates that professionalism can very well mean wearing shorts. So this to me is all a part of said social deconstruction. I didn't know that professionalism was a part of this. I thought that all the other themes that we tend to talk about on this channel, I thought we had covered every aspect of social deconstruction. But I guess we could add professional dress to the laundry list of attempts made at social deconstruction. And as you intimated, people just want to be able to do whatever they want. Like, people want to be able to feel as though they can walk into a job interview wearing a nightgown and be perceived as just as professional as someone who walks in wearing a suit or some sort of actual professional attire. We just want to rewrite everything. We want to literally create new definitions for everything. This is a part of that movement towards social anarchy. So if it were me, I would have disqualified her personally. I would have been like, listen, thanks, but no thanks. We appreciate your time, but good luck on all your future endeavors. You know, all of that mumbo jumbo that they're going to tell you. Good luck on your future endeavors. And, you know, the sky's the limit, blah, blah, blah. That's what I would have done, because that to me gives me a glimpse enough into your mindset and approach to professionalism to let me know whether I want to actually bring you aboard as a part of what it is that I'm trying to do here. So she's very fortunate that she got another opportunity. The only thing that I did not like is the attempt at victimhood. You got dress coded. What the hell is that? So now you were being mistreated because they told you to go home and put on some more professional attire?
Yeah,
because make no mistake about it, that's what she was doing there. By phrasing it that way, I got dress coded. That's no different than saying this happened to me at the airport because I was profiled, or this happened to me at this restaurant because they were profiling me. So this happened to you because you were dress coded. So now there's a certain level of victimhood attached to this. That's what I don't like. But again, to bring it back to the generational angle of it, that is also something that these new humans do. To not get your way, there must be some aspect of you being victimized that has to do with this. Because Lord, you know, God forbid that you did not get your way because you did something stupid.
Right.
The reason why you didn't get your way is because you were victimized. And in the case of her, she was dress coded. That to me, I don't like. That's ridiculous. But otherwise, yeah, I agree. She's a product of her unfortunate environment.
Yeah, man. 1000%, man. And as I said, man, yeah, dude, this new human stuff, dude. Like I've had I used to have that mindset as well as a young person, as far as why do I have to dress a certain way to be considered professional? Because as a young person, taking everything racially, I felt as though professional meant dressing a way that wasn't part of my culture. And my culture said I was hip hop. So while working at Target, you know what I'm saying? It's my first job, bro. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, everybody in there wearing their regular shirts, you know, tucked in. This is 2004, guys. So, you know what I'm saying? I had my 5X shirt on. You know what I'm saying? I had my 5X shirt on, not tucked in, a chain. I had a chain with my badge attached to it. I'm in there walking like that. And nobody said nothing the first few days. And then other people started doing it. And then there was a problem then. So they had to, you know, tighten up the dress code or whatever. But I was like, why can't I dress like this? I'm still wearing the red and khakis, and you know what I'm saying? I had Chucks too, but I was out there like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was YG. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm banging fruit. So yeah, man. So I'm out there like, yo, what's the big deal, man? Just because I'm not wearing, you know, a polo that's too small or it's tucked in like I'm Carlton Banks, like, you know, I'm not a professional. I'm crushing it on the floor. What's the problem? So I thought that, hey man, my work should do the talking, not how I dress. That's how I really thought. But it wasn't until I had more jobs, I was in different settings, and I realized, like how you said for your job, is that there's a correlation here between how somebody presents themselves at work and their actual work performance. And if somebody takes the time to, it's like going on a date. If this girl didn't bother to hygiene herself when she came to a date, then, you know, you got other problems later if you get to know her. So it's the same thing. And so versus a woman that came that, you know, she was looking the part and, you know, doing her thing. She smelled nice. She was, you know, carrying herself or whatever, you know, it could be other things down the line, but at least you won't run into certain, you know, you could project you're not going to run into certain issues later. But I can guarantee you that hygiene person, you will find something later. So it's the same thing. Like if you want to come to the job with you want to come to this thing with a sassy attitude, feeling like, what's wrong with this? Now, luckily, I think she talked to the recruiter first. So I think the recruiter was like, yo, we can't do this. I'm going to reschedule you. Don't show up there looking like this. So the recruiter, who gets paid off when people get their jobs, was like, no, go shut this down. And so she did that woman a favor. And so to run to TikTok and to say, look, y'all, what's wrong with this? Man, but the internet corrected her on this. So sometimes the internet, I feel like, gets things right. And for the most part, I saw everybody handle this with good taste. Nobody really dug into her. It's kind of a thing of, hey, you gotta see, how big this world is. And that actually you showing up like this is not the play. And so, like I said, as a young person, I thought it was cool to just dress however, so long as you did your job. That's pretty much what she thinks. I'm gonna do my job. What's the problem? But it's just like, nah, I'm pretty sure there's going to be times and things where you take that casual, how you feel today, into casually sending that paperwork. And that casual sending that paperwork, you missed the deadline, we got a problem. That uptight person that's so uptight, they got to stick up their ass because they pants, their slacks are so tight, that guy's going to get that thing pumped out. And before the deadline, I'm hiring that person.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully, what I'm saying, she takes this lesson on the chin, man, and take the maturity up a couple notches. I was once there too myself as a young person, but I do realize there is a correlation. So you might want to tighten up a little bit.
Yeah, people don't think of it that way, but there is. There's the brain waves and the patterns in the mind that connect and speak to one another. There's a conclusion that one can draw based upon one's approach to dressing this way. You ain't even been on the job 6 months. You're trying to get in the door. And you dress like this. So it's like you're trying to get into the door and you dress like that. I would draw conclusions based upon your decision to dress that way, and I would correlate that. I would approximate that to whether I felt as though you'd be the right fit for whatever it is that you're trying to get in the door for. So people just need to stop thinking that they can do whatever they want. Like,
right.
This tendency that people nowadays have of believing that the world was created in their image.
Yes.
People need to get off that. They really need to get off that. And that goes across all age spectrums. Obviously, we see it most in younger people because they're growing up in the internet world. Mm-hmm. But even older people are adapting to this.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, I get my way no matter what. And if I don't get my way, there's something wrong with everyone else and not me. And, it's just a weird way of living, and people really need to get off that. So to this chick out here, Tyresha Daly, good luck to you. Hopefully you get the picture. Don't do it again. Otherwise, I suggest you try and figure out ways to be self-employed, because that'll be the only measure by which you can dress however the hell you feel like it, and still get into whatever you want.
And I agree with that. And I'll just say this as a caveat to that: not if you're client facing.
Yeah.
So if you can dress like that at home behind a keyboard, but if you're client facing, you're going to lose. That's what I'm saying. Like, you can go out there and do your own business dressing like that, and you'll see that the ratios would be a lot different if you wore something a lot more business oriented. People will take you a lot more seriously. You'll close more deals that way. So she'll learn one way or another.
Yeah. Good luck to you, Miss Daly.
You.
And we got beef between Marlon Wayans and DJ Vlad, another member of the hip hop community, Mr. Vlad. Vlad and Michael Rubin together. I wonder if Vlad goes to Michael Rubin's white parties.
He probably
but Marlon Wayans and Vlad got into a heated back and forth on the interweb because the Vlad was trying to check Marlon Wayans on Marlon suggesting that his price to do an interview is $40,000. And Vlad was like, no, you're not worth $40,000. You're delusional if you think that you're worth a $40,000 asking price, which spiraled into a back and forth between the two. And basically Marlon going in on him and roasting Vlad, and Vlad doing his usual smart guy retort, right? So this says Marlon Wayans roasts DJ Vlad after he claims the comedian isn't worth $40K. Marlon Wayans and DJ Vlad engaged in a war of words over the weekend after the blogger insisted that the comedian wasn't worth $40,000. It all began on Friday, which was August 9th, when Vlad uploaded an interview with comedian Aries Spears, in which they talked about Marlon asking for $40,000 to appear in an interview for his platform. The viral video caught the Legends fans' attention, to which they opined that Marlon's price wasn't even that high and usually charged more. The Bel Air thespian agreed, saying he was trying to cut him a deal. Vlad shot back at the actor and argued that he only brings in 100,000 to 300,000 views across his interviews on other platforms, so his asking price isn't worth it. But Marlon had time for the controversial blogger, saying, "You mad? You unprofessional, my guy. If you don't like the number, keep it moving. You look bad. You should fall back. Mad at black man stating his number, and now you go public and use your platform to try to drag me. I never in my life dealt with this silly negotiating tactic." Vlad quickly responded, doubling down on his assertion that he finds all this amusing because you really think that you're worth $40,000 for an interview. So here's some of the responses. Here was one person who was a fan of Marlon saying, "You a good one, because DJ Vlad would have had to pay me $500,000 for an interview with 55% of all revenue made from the video on all platforms." And Marlon responded, "See, I tried to tell him I was giving him a deal. Oh, well." Here's another response from DJ Vlad. Marlon Wayans found someone with 200 followers to agree with him. LOL, nobody on earth is going to pay Marlon $40,000 for an interview when he gets 100,000 to 300,000 views on any platform he interviews on. This guy is really delusional. The White Chicks entertainer fought the belief that he wasn't worth his asking price and continued an onslaught on the Ukraine-born talking head. "I'm worth whatever I say. People like you don't make or break me, champ. I'm self-made. I go where I choose. I don't like your tactics. I've been a gentleman. I didn't express my grievances with other people. You trying to turn other black men in my field on me, asking them about my money." As Marlon began making jokes about Vlad's beard and hair transplants, the pundit began attacking the Wayans brothers' sexuality, claiming that he was homosexual. "Marlon Wayans, I'm sorry that you don't find me attractive. Fortunately for both of us, I'm heterosexual."
Whoa.
Vlad then called out his recent gay photo shoot and dressing up as a woman in White Chicks as evidence that Marlon to come out of the closet. So yeah, as you can see, this pretty much just disintegrated into ridiculousness. Yo, at DJ Vlad, your beard made from Ice Spice's ass hair. One of Marlon posts read, "Hey, shave some of that BS nappy beard and use it the next time you go to Turkey to get one of the hair transplants you be getting. Yo, at DJ Vlad, your beard look like roadkill, like some animal I hit on my way to Poconos." Here's more of the back and forth. "Not mad at all. I find all this amusing because you really think that you're worth $40,000 for an interview. I said there's nobody on earth that will pay you that, and I have yet to be proven wrong. Throwing out a stupid ass number for an interview is unprofessional, my guy." And Marlon responded, "You've been teetering on disrespect, and I've been a gentleman up until this point. This was tactless, unprofessional, and petty. You out here trying to tear down a king. You trying to instigate beef within my community and peers. It won't happen, fella. I'm loved." All right, so that's enough. You get the point. These guys are digging their toes in the sand. They won't get smoked out of their holes. Marlon believes he was cutting Vlad a deal at $40,000 to appear on his platform. Vlad thinks that's ludicrous because Marlon should not command such a high price tag, given the fact that his viewership across any platform for interviews is marginal at best. And then Marlon started to roast him about his pube beard and his hair transplants. So, what do you make of this back and forth and Marlon's assertion that he's worth whatever he wants to charge, and Vlad was being petty and low and disrespectful?
Well, it might come as a surprise to some people, but I agree with Marlon here. Vlad said, "Hey, you're trying to do an interview. Okay, well, here's an invoice. You can either say yes or no. And if you don't like this, 40K figure, then kick rocks." I think that's just business. And for Vlad to, and this is typical Vlad. See, I didn't know this started from an Ari Spears clip to try to clown Marlon. So, and I told you this, he does real passive aggressive, lame stuff. Vlad, that is. And that's why when we were talking about the not like us thing, and he wanted to chime in and talk about the mixing and mastering wasn't good. See, that's the Michael Rubin Inception stuff. It is. It's the same tactic. And so Marlon sees for what it is, that you're trying to clown me, you're trying to shame me, and have me be some type of weird person. At least you're trying to paint that image of me. And so, Marlon sees it for what it is. And so he called this guy out for what he does, the exploiter that he is. This guy here, and that's what I'm saying. He gives these, I made the analogy before that he treats this like the corn industry, where, hey, here's $1,500 to do this scene, here's 500 more if you do it like this. And and while whatever publishing house or whatever company that owns that clip, they can run that into perpetuity and get paid forever, while that one actor got paid for $1,500 for that one scene. And this is what Vlad does on his interviews when he got these people talking reckless, and he pays them pennies and he collects on the back end. And so he's exploiting. He does not talk about things that are uplifting at all. Everything is the glorification of crime, murder, beef, you name it. He runs the gambit. And so for Marlon to say, hey, 40K, I think that's a polite no. And you can pay me this if you want. And I know Marlon would have said, from the way that Marlon's talking, I can guarantee you, if he had got that 40K and sat down and did an interview with Vlad, he would have gave him probably like one or two straight answers. And the rest was just going to be rigmarole, because I feel like he knows what type of rigmarole Vlad runs. So, I agree with Sir Marlon here. I do not like how Vladimir gets down. As you mentioned earlier in the Rubin topic, I feel like these guys move the same. And I believe that Vlad's job and his duty is to be a part of that that control of cultural thought. And he always tries to insert his opinion as if it even matters. But what are your thoughts here on Sir Vladimir calling out Marlon for turning down, not turning down, setting a 40K offer? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm with Marlon too. And my question is, why? What number were you expecting Marlon to give you? You know what I'm saying? Like, what were you expecting him to say? I'll do it for free. Like, you know what I'm saying? It almost seems like a sand trap, where no matter what Marlon's answer to the asking price would have been, he would have used it as leverage in that interview to basically make Marlon Wayans look like a person who's asking for too much, given where he is in his career. Because if you don't agree with the asking price, then don't bring it up. Let bygones be bygones and move on. Why bring it up in an interview with somebody who has nothing to do with the situation? It's just, he is a loan shark to me. He's cut rate.
Yes.
You know, he strikes me as one of these people who just uses any shit that he can in order to. He has surrendered himself as a slave to the attention machine of the internet. I think he is someone who will do any and everything, damn near, from an exploitation standpoint, to get whatever views he needs for his channel, even if that means publicly embarrassing people who otherwise didn't know what they were signing up for. And it's that form of exploitation that people should feel uncomfortable about, because why bring this up in an interview that has nothing to do with Marlon? Why are we even talking about this?
Right.
Like, why bring that up as a talking point with someone who has nothing to do with this? This is an Ari Spears interview. What does this have to do with what Marlon is asking for an interview?
That's Vlad.
I don't understand what the two have to do with one another. But this is what exploiters do. And it's why I've never been a big fan of his work. I don't give a damn who he brings onto his channel. Otherwise, I have nothing more to add on to what you have to say, because I agree with pretty much all of it. Vlad strikes me as the kind of person who, Vlad strikes me as the kind of person who will claim to be down with the cause and be locking arms with black people. And he'll say this and he'll say that, I love this and I'm supporting this and I'm doing this or whatever. But if he had a daughter, he wouldn't even be happy with his daughter dating a black man. Like, Vlad, that kind of snake oil salesman to me, where you can say all of this stuff and you can be like this person who pray tells to be in support of X, Y, and Z. But when it came to your doorstep and it was a matter of affecting your personal worldview, then your true colors will come out. You know, he's that kind of guy. Like, if his daughter shows up with a black boyfriend, or she says, hey, dad, I'm engaged and here's my guy, and it's a black guy, he's going to have a problem with that. Despite all of the pontificating that he does on his channels, parading around being this supporter of hip hop and by extension black people. If it became that much of a personal matter, I feel as though he'd have a gripe. And that person is not to be trusted. Now, that's speculation on my part. I don't know the guy personally. I just don't like the way he conducts himself in terms of his platform. And I will just stick to my guns on that. Sure, what I just said is purely speculative, but that's my opinion nonetheless. People like that just shouldn't be trusted in any kind of way. This is the same guy who will claim to be down with you, but if he gets jammed up in a pinch, he'll tell the feds everything.
100%.
He'll tell them everything they need to know.
100%.
He'll be in he'll be in WITSEC while you get locked up for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
So the guy to me is just a snake oil salesman. He'll sell you a lemon of a vehicle. You know, you walk onto his dealership, you're looking for a car and you want a good deal. He'll sell you something that's going to break down in 2 months and you're going to need to put $10,000 worth of work into it, also that he can make the sale. He's that kind of person. Just don't trust people like this. The way he does business is shiesty. I'm not a fan. And I'm not a fan of it. So I don't blame Marlon one bit. If that's his asking price, that's his asking price. What is it to you?
I agree, man. And I think this is similar to the Rubin thing. I think that Vlad thinks very low of our community, and he looks at it in a situation where I can just reach in and make money because they don't know what the hell they doing. And he takes us in mass as ignorant people, and he talks with a very elitist tone. Whenever somebody confronts him about the interviews that he does with people when they get locked up or they get unalived later because of something they talked about, whenever people talk to him about that, he goes, they don't have to answer my questions.
Right.
That's on them.
Yep.
That's not coming. The hit, there's no remorse there. And if he wants to proclaim himself as a part of the community enough to have an opinion about it, then you should empathize with people that were in the community that got something done wrong to them because of something that they said publicly on the internet. Instead of wiping your hands clean and saying, you ain't have to answer me. And by the way, I'm going to chop this up into about 15 pieces. And then after they get unalive, I'll come out with a flashback. This guy is scum to me. And he has no place. Honestly, if you, you know, hey, I agree, you know, we understand what hip hop and rap is and the difference between the two, or what people want to call hip hop, but real hip hop. Like, I get that. And Vlad, his thing is he doesn't deal with the real hip hop form. He deals with the Michael Rubin kind. And so he's going to have ignorance on display whenever. Him, Adam 22, they do the same thing.
Yes.
And their objective, much like I said, like Michael Rubin, their objective is to create this pressure chamber where everybody just ends up growing up in, because they control the media of it. And they say that, hey, this is important. Hey, guys, Adam 22 turned his podcast into Jerry Springer. He just bring gangsters up there, air quote gangsters up there, shadow beefing and stuff like that, promoting garbage. The only thing is missing is Steve coming to come break it up. So these guys they're creating this pressure chamber where culture is growing up in, and they think that catching a body and living to tell about it online is what to do. Some kid right now fantasizes about getting to some real street beef so they can talk about it online later. Some kids doing that. I can tell you this, because I used to, whenever I heard all those trap rap and stuff like that as a young person, I didn't actually want to do those things, but I kind of wanted to. So I know that there's some young people out there that kind of want to do some of this stuff just so they can have the opportunity to sit on Vlad's thing and say, yeah, I caught a body. I caught a body. It was in self-defense, you know? So yeah, man, this guy here or anybody else like him, they're trash to me, man. So I agree with Sir Marlon here. DJ Vladimir, you, Charlemagne's, Michael Rubin's, Adam 22, these people that are claiming that they're a part of the culture and here to uplift it, but do nothing but exploit and put us in weird compromising positions, they can kick rocks, man. So Vladimir, get out of here, man.
Yeah. He is a snake oil salesman as far as I'm concerned. The guy is poisonous. And, once again, his effectiveness with being able to infiltrate and do what he does is a direct testament to the overall weak foundation of the culture that he claims to be uplifting. So, it sucks. But Marlon did himself a service, because he would be relegating himself to that, muck if he even went on that show in the first place. So,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and some of these other people who are on his show that I do kind of somewhat hold in higher esteem. Like, to me, there's a difference between Aries Spears and Boosie. So, like, Boosie makes sense why he's going over that all the time. Aries Spears, I think he can do a little better than that. But I get it, whatever you want to do to try and continue to get your name out there, whatever. But to me, it's like Boosie, that makes sense. Aries Spears, it's like, bro, I think you can do a little better. But be that as it may, to those individuals that I look at as, I think you can go do a little better than that. I think it's high time that you just leave people like Vlad's shows alone. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, man. And last thing I was saying was that, if he set a price at $40K and Vlad talked him down to 20 or 15, that's a market price. So now you got to do 15,000 for everything. So this is business on his behalf. He don't need a Vlad interview. I'll do one for 40.
Well, that's why I'm inclined to believe that no matter what Marlon would have told him, he would have used that as a talking point in those interviews to leverage it for more clicks, which is the snake oil salesman that he is. That's what he's going to do. It's almost as if it was a setup from the beginning.
What a funny dude, man.
It's exploitation at its finest, man. Exploitation at its finest.
Sheesh.
Shouts out to Marlon.
Yeah. Skr.
Last but not least, we got a bit of a Miami segment here. We're gonna do a little Miami themed piece of content here to close out the stream this week. We're gonna talk about Tua Tagovailoa and an interview that he recently did where he talked about how, you know, Brian Flores was doing him dirty while Brian Flores was the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. So shouts out to Dan Le Batard. I got love for Dan Le Batard. I'm a fan of Dan Le Batard. Tua was on Dan Le Batard's show, and Dan Le Batard asked Tua about the experience playing for the Dolphins under Brian Flores. And Tua basically talked about how it's been a night and day experience between what he dealt with playing for Brian Flores and what he now experiences playing for the current head coach, Mike McDaniel. So I think the first thing that we'll do is play what Tua said. And then we will play Brian Flores' response to that. So here is what Tua said when Le Batard asked him about playing for Brian Flores and what that was like.
Can you explain to us the difference in practical terms between having a coach who did believe in you the way that he did and the difference between that and what was happening with Flores?
Yeah. Well, to put it in simplest terms, if you woke up every morning and I told you you sucked at what you did, that you don't belong doing what you do, that you shouldn't be here, that this guy should be here, that you haven't earned this right, and then you have somebody else come in and tell you, dude, you are the best fit for this. Like, you are accurate, you are the best whatever, you are this, you are that. Like, how would it make you feel listening to one or the other? You see what I'm saying? And then you hear it, regardless of what it is, the good or the bad, and you hear it more and more, you start to actually believe that. I don't care who you are. You could be the president of the United States. You have a terrible person that's telling you things that you don't want to hear or that you probably shouldn't be hearing. You're going to start to believe that about yourself. And so that's sort of like what ended up happening. And it was, I mean, it's basically been 2 years of training that out of not just me, but a couple of the guys as well that have been here since my rookie year all the way till now.
Yeah.
All right. And so in response to that, Brian Flores was asked about it recently during training camp. He is now the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, the Minnesota Vikings. And he was asked about this. And so we'll get into what he had to say in response. So this says Brian Flores maturely owned Tua Tagovailoa's harsh criticism of his Dolphins teams after quarterback ripped coach. Give Brian Flores some credit. He's not backtracking or denying anything in the wake of Tua's harsh criticism of the former Miami Dolphins head coach. During a Tuesday press conference, the now Minnesota Vikings defensive coordinator stood at the podium and faced the music. He admitted that hearing Tua blast him in public in such a strong fashion struck a chord that put him into a mindset of self-reflection about where he had gone wrong as a coach. Flores maintained that he already previously understood that he didn't have the best approach with the young quarterback and has been trying to grow from that ever since. So here's what Flores said. All right, so let's go ahead and blow this up.
Is it taken? There you go.
You know, these two, the Twitter stuff be slower than the rest of them, bro. I don't even know what's going on.
No.
All right, so here's what Flores said when asked about this.
Specific to the comments that were made by Tua, I just want to say, look, I'm happy, genuinely happy, genuinely genuinely happy for the success that Tua's had. And I really wish him nothing but the best. And, I think, player relationships are very important to me. I think that's kind of the foundation of coaching. I got into coaching because I was impacted as a young guy by my high school coaches, my college coaches, going all the way to Pop Warner. I got into coaching because I want to make that same kind of impact, positive impact, pour into young people, help them become, as KO says all the time, the best versions of themselves. And that's really my goal always in coaching. So I wish nothing but the best to Tua. Really more than anything, I'm just focused on the Vikings, the 2024 Vikings, the players we have. We saw a couple of guys up here, just a couple minutes ago, Metellus and HP. I think, their leadership, their friendship is important to me, and I'm just, I'm excited about this group.
All right, so Mr. Flores took the high road there. Shouts out to Dan Levitard, man. Dan Levitard, I got a lot of respect for him. I like the way he does his job. And hopefully their platform hasn't gone the Joe Budden DJ Academics route where they flag you for copyright because you use clips of their clips from their stuff. But we'll find out. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But what did you make of Flores' response to what Tua had to say about Tua's time playing under Brian Flores?
Well, I mean, I wish he owned it a little bit more, but he owned it pretty good. I could tell that there was a lot of guilt and remorse there as he was talking. And if he got into coaching to pour into young men and help them be the best versions of themselves, if that was his initial goal while getting into coaching, and then having a moment like that on his own personal resume, I'm pretty sure that would be a reflective moment of, you know what, I was doing that, but I didn't know I was doing that like that. I'm pretty sure he gave him praise over there and, over there, but it was probably more or less scolding. And now I think the whole Fitzpatrick thing makes sense now. The whole Fitzmagic thing makes sense because I think with Flores, I think he was in a position, this personally, I think Flores was in a position where, the irony of it all, but he was in a position where he wanted to keep his job. I think he knew Tua was good, but there was a lot of skepticism, at least from the hip injury and stuff like that when he first got there. And I don't think that he wanted Tua to be the guy to keep his job. So I think he was leaning more on the elder, the guy with more experience that can get us over the hump because the defense is going to do all the work. I think that was more or less his philosophy. And for all intents and purposes, on top of that, I really don't think he really believed in Tua too, to be honest. And so what were the reasons why he didn't believe? Don't know. But I think that Flores was in a position where I think it was job security thing, to be honest. But the ironic part about it is he was sharting on Tua so much that he lost his job because of it. Well, you didn't draft him, so the people that drafted him want him on the field. So you trying to get wins by having a more experienced person out there isn't what the ownership wanted. They wanted somebody that's going to sell jerseys. So it was, I think, for Flores, because I have a mixed bag about the guy. I feel as though that he was a hell of a defensive mind for us when he was coaching. So I have a soft spot for him on that because I think he can coach well. But I think this was a learning experience for him as a coach. Leadership. There's different types of leadership, different forms of leadership. There's books on leadership and various techniques and ways you can do it. So long as you get to your end goal, however your leadership fashion may be, as long as you get to your end goal, then you're doing something right, I would say. And the leadership form of him scolding Tua to the point to where he started to actually believe that, hey man, maybe I'm not cut out for the league. Yeah, that sucks, man, because that's like a kid that never actualized their potential because some teacher wanted to tell them some crazy stuff in 3rd grade. So yeah, it's not cool. And I think Flores is a good dude enough to go, hey man, I was in the wrong there, and hopefully he's learned to be better for that. And coaching offensive players and defensive players is a 2 universes. I think this guy's a defensive coordinator. I think you can tear into those guys a little bit more. And I think that's more or less he brought his hard-edged, let's get things done mentality to the quarterback room. And that may not be the place to do that, especially for these young guys who grew up in a different era than him. But what are your thoughts, man, on Sir Flores, owning up, I guess, to the comments made by Tua?
Yeah, he tried to bring that Bill Belichick coaching style to the Dolphins, and it just out. So the story essentially goes that Brian Flores wanted to draft Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
The owner wanted to draft Tua.
Mm-hmm.
The owner is I almost said slave master. The owner is the owner. So ultimately, the owner gets his way, and so the team ended up drafting Tua and not Justin Herbert. That's where it all started. So when you say you don't think he believed in Tua, I believe that was the crux of the issue. Because he preferred a different quarterback, he never liked Tua to begin with because he would have rather had another quarterback. That being said, if that's who your team drafts, no matter what, you gotta be all in with that guy,
right?
And your reluctance to do that shows a lack of maturity for you as a coach, in my opinion.
I agree.
So Flores is going to have to eat that because you have to be mature enough to rise above that and coach with the hand you've been dealt. His inability to do that was a failure on his part. So from that standpoint, I'm with Tua. And I have personal experience with something like this. I worked for over 10 years for a restaurant franchise. I'm not going to say the name of it, but they are a big barbecue franchise located throughout Northwest Florida and Central Florida. Anybody that should give you enough hints to figure out which place I'm talking about.
Sizzler.
Yeah. And at one point, the particular store that I worked out of moved locations, and it was a big deal because it was the first location of its kind where the stores look a particular way both inside and outside. This was going to be the first of its kind that had a new architecture to it. The inside, it was going to be the first of its kind to have a bar, the first of its kind to have TV bar set up and all of that. It was a big deal because it was the first location of any franchise within that entire company that was going to be this kind of way. So it was a big deal. Because it was such a big deal, the owner of the franchise decided to have a more hands-on involvement in the daily, in the daily goings on of the business. So all of a sudden, he went from being an out of sight, out of mind owner who cuts the checks to being this micromanager who's always there every day directing people on how to work. And he didn't do it in a positive, constructive kind of way. He did it in a negative, chastising kind of way, where the only time you heard him say anything, it was to scold you on what you weren't doing right. Now, the store broke all kinds of records, not because it was running functionally, but because it was such a popular thing in that area. People just kept flocking to it because it was the new shiny restaurant. So this place was already popular, but because it was a new building and it was new on the outside and the inside, and it had a bar and they were doing all of these new things, it created a different kind of buzz and it magnified it. So it was just breaking records locally of people just patronizing the business, but it wasn't being run functionally. It was chaotic every day. And in my opinion, part of the reason why it was so chaotic was because all of the employees were working on eggshells because this dude was running around micromanaging everybody. Being a glorified general manager when he was supposed to be an owner. Get the hell out of the way and let your general manager and your assistant managers run the place. You're not helping running around scolding your assistants on everything that the employees are doing wrong. And anytime that you communicate directly to the employees, it's just tell them what they're doing wrong. So the performances of everybody who worked in there declined. And the place started to really run in a dysfunctional manner, despite the money it was making. It was a paradox of a situation to be involved in because it was making a lot of money, but everybody was miserable. It was a very weird dynamic to be a part of. But I say that to say that I have firsthand experience being in that kind of environment. I don't mind being hard coached, but it has to be constructive.
Right.
You can't just be hating on me because you just mad and you don't like the fact that I exist. Like, you can't just be hating on the fact that I exist on the roster.
Right.
You need to be constructive.
Right.
And by the looks of it, based on what Tua is saying, it seems as though Flores was just being a hater. And he wasn't even trying to be constructive. He just didn't like the guy because he existed on the roster, in large part because he wanted Justin Herbert. And those types of environments, no one can thrive in that. No one can thrive in those. You're set up to fail. Your job performance is going to suffer. Your confidence is going to suffer. You're going to make mistakes. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy because the mistakes that you're complaining about are going to be mistakes that your people make because they're so petrified of making mistakes.
Yep.
And I feel like that's the kind of situation that Tua found himself in, unwillfully. So I think for all parties involved, it looks like Flores is in a better spot, and I agree with you. It seems as though he's better as a coordinator as opposed to being a head coach. So I'm with you on that. And I'm also glad that Tua is happier and doing well. So for all parties involved, it looks like the outcome was the outcome that needed to take place. I don't know that means that we're set up for Super Bowl contention, because I still think that Tua is a tier below that. But from the standpoint of his happiness and progression as an individual player, I'm glad to see that he's thriving and no longer in a powder keg of that nature.
Yeah. And well said, bro. And I forgot about the whole Justin Herbert thing. But still, I think that he didn't. It's probably a combination of both, that he didn't like the guy, but he also didn't believe in him so much that he thought that Fitzpatrick was better. I really think he thought Fitzpatrick was better. Like, right now, this dude's better than you, dude. So I'm going to put the guy out there that's better than you. And, one can argue that, when Tua's a rookie, green, of course, Fitzpatrick is better. And I think that he leaned more into that and too aggressively. And that was a good word that you brought up too, is maturity there. And, to me, that came off like a parent that was parenting way too hard and then had to hear a lesson later going, damn, man, I ain't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't know I was doing that to Junior. And it's like, yeah, dude, you know what I'm saying? That's probably what motivates you in the morning. But, telling the guy that you can't get this done, over and over. Yeah. At some point he's going to believe it. And just like Tua said, man, it could be the president of the United States. Because I done told Joe Biden that you can't find your pants and you should drop out of the race. So not only could he not find his pants, he also dropped out of the race. So people do believe things, guys. Power in words. So with that being said, go Tua. And let's get us a championship, man. Let's get us a Super Bowl. One thing that we do need is a stout defense. So we'll see how that works. But the correlation normally goes, it's kind of like, you can't really have it all, there's a woman out there, and she's real voluptuous in the back there, but then when you look up top, it's not enough action. Or if there's she's got it all going up top, it's probably not enough going on in the back door, and so one of those things, man, if you have yourself a banging offense, you're most likely not going to have a good defense either. It's just a trade-off. And McDaniels comes off as a guy that doesn't. We would need a Flores type person to run defense, like just a straight asshole, and just over there running the defense so they can be goblins. But if they're taking on the identity of Flowers and everything is love, like McDaniels does, our defense may not be stout enough to get the job done. So hopefully we got a good enough defense this year that can get us over the hump, man, because now we are in Super Bowl territory. And if we don't at least get there, it was a failure of a season, I would say.
Hopefully the roster is there, but we'll see.
It's there.
We'll see. Yeah. The cold weather stuff and the record against winning teams, playoff teams, those are challenges that they're going to have to prove the doubters wrong with those things, I would say. But we'll see. Overall, I'm just glad that there's nothing, you cannot put a price on peace of mind in your professional space. No one, I don't care who you are, but working on eggshells, you're never going to perform to the best of your ability if you're constantly working in an environment where you're always in fear of what you're going to do wrong. So the fact that he is freed from that by all appearances, I'm glad for that. So I'm glad for Tua in that way. So shouts out to Tua. And of course, shouts out to the Dolphins, man, because we are a Miami Dolphins friendly channel over here on this side. And shouts out to my man, Dan Lebatard, too. I think him and Kyle Hurd, to me, are the guys who I enjoy listening to talk about sports the most. So shouts out to Lebatard out there. But on that note, we are going to head and close things out, man. This was a great stream, a lot of interesting topics. Interested to see what the people are going to have to say on these videos as they come cranking out. Check us out on Instagram at ConApproach, ConApproach. I as well. I'm on Instagram at JVWins, JVWINS. Conscious Approach will be available in individual episodes on your podcast platforms in short order, so be on the lookout for that. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, leave a comment, let us know what you think about the commentary in this or any other video. And until next time, people, always think for yourself, and we'll catch you on the next video.
Yeah. And the name is Dogon SS. And you can find me on Instagram at Dogon_SS and on YouTube and TikTok at Dogon_SS. I'm posting videos in both locations. Lord have mercy. And so, like I say on every pod, guys, don't be too hot. Don't be too low. Keep it calm. Keep it chill. Keep it real. And don't let anybody get you off your pivot. So until the next time, my people, we'll catch y'all on the flip side.
That's right. We are out of there. Oh, and I'm waiting on that Tyreek Hill, Noah Lyles race too. Y'all got to make that happen. Make that happen, man. I want to see Tyreek smoke that boy. That would be hilarious.
And keep it limited to 50 yards. And Tyreek got him. Tyreek got him. I'm going Tyreek.
We go, man. Until the next stream, we are out. We'll see y'all later. Peace.
You already know what time it is. Go Pirates.